Today we are going to see who is better at creating sprites for games, Kimi AI or Gemini, to see who can create a better version of Mario in a single prompt. And so what I'm really trying to look at is, can it actually create sprites? I know that the image generations can do this, but will it be able to create an actual sprite sheet with the movements and the jumps, or something similar to bring that game to life? It doesn't even have to be a sprite sheet if it wanted to do something different. I'm also interested, will it create a full sprite sheet or will it create multiple different ones? I'm allowing it to decide that itself. I want textures, I want like items, I want the flags and the interactions, the pipes for it to make, and all of that. And will Kimi be able to create trademark characters? Gemini might have a problem. The reason I'm not trying ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is a big no-no to copyrighted material, as if you were asking the police to sell you the drugs they just confiscated. So, and with Kimi, in the last video I did with it, it created pretty good graphics on my app for a Duolingo clone, and so I'm thinking it hopefully will be able to continue on that front, because the other day when I tried to create 2D graphics, they were as more blocky than Lego at the moment. Look at this pterodactyl from my Donut game. It's just full squares. The only difficult thing about this Kimi agent is you only get 3 per month, and that is severe limitations. It takes forever to run these prompts with the agents. They are very powerful, but after those 3, it's like you have a Ferrari powered by a toaster. I will also now try and get it running in Gemini, which will hopefully get the games running quickly. So I will let this run now on both of them and come back to you when it is finished. Okay, we're in the process here, and you can see Kimi is still working, but it has actually created some really cool looking sprites. So it'll be interesting to see how it implements them in the game when it gets to the coding part. Okay, both of them have finished. Gemini finished a lot quicker. It doesn't have a full agent mode in the AI studio, unlike in Kimi AI, which took an age and a half. I don't even know how long, because I left and went to do something else, eat some food. When I came back, it was finished. But we're going to start with Gemini to have a look at it working. So how well do the sprites work? We've got this nice menu here and the instructions of how to play and the correct font. So that is a definite plus towards Gemini. It's actually not the same font as in Mario, but it's still on the right aesthetics that we're going for. So if we press start, what happens? And we have an actual sprite that looks very similar to Mario, and we can jump, except that there's no jumping animation. And if we move, there is not really any moving animation, but that is definitely somewhat spritey. And those boxes kind of just look like they've been drawn in rather than created sprites, but it's still correct. And we've got a coin, and can we get that coin? It's not the most beautiful looking coin, but it's definitely a coin. Can we get anything else in here? Is there? Oh wow, look at that brick, and the brick moves up and down. Those pipes are not particularly pipey. They don't have much 3D effect on them, and the ground looks not so good. There's no clouds in the sky, there's no background, but it is definitely created graphics here. They may not be so pretty. Oh, and a mushroom, wow. And we got big, except for it didn't really get big as much as it just stretch the whole thing. And can we hit the boxes? We can hit another coin, and we cannot run fast and jump, but we can do that and hit. And can we get up there? I don't think so. So, there's no sprite animation, but the game is working nicely. There's a Goomba. This is a Goomba, and the one on the far is going to be a Koopa Trooper. And if we jump on that, we get a bonus, but I don't know if we're going to be able to jump that high, because there's no speed jump. And let's see if we can get back out of this. No. So although everything looks pretty good and we have the font at the top with the correct type of style going on in terms of what's happening and a score. There's no countdown and the lives are given in numbers instead of the hearts. But the game does work. It has no animations, which is definitely a decrease in point scoring on its front. But in terms of gameplay, not too bad. I would have liked to see the sprites actually move. Let's have a look in the code, see how it drew those images. And as we look here into the sprites, it has not actually generated images using the Nano Banana or anything, which I was expecting it to do, use Nano Banana to create images. No. It has actually just coded in the color space for each of the sprites, which is an alternative way of doing it. I guess that's kind of what an SGV file is anyway, basically, not exactly, but same. And that's very cool that it has created all of these using just code, ones and zeros, and coloring it in. So I'm pretty impressed by doing that, ones and zeros and twos, and having the color set for it. So in terms of how cool looking the sprites are, not that impressive, but actually coding them out like this, pretty impressive. I guess the downside is there is a lack of animation, but it has created a different way of handling sprites, and so that I will also give it a bonus point for being creative. You didn't even have to generate graphics, all in code. If only it had the movement for Mario, I would have just even a jumping movement. Forget the running one, a jumping one. So it would only have to have switched between two states. Maybe a running one as well, just because you really do want to have that dynamicness. But then losing points as well for the lack of the ground and the background dynamics or background textures, but still very cool. So if we move on to Kimi AI, here we have what Kimi came up with. And as we can see, we have the game here. If we refresh it, so we will start again. And we have Mario, and that is a very unique. It's not exactly like Mario, very small Mario. The downside is it's got no floor. There's nothing there. I cannot see anything. There's no floor. There's no other graphics on the screen apart from these clouds and this background stuff. But where is the floor? Where are the blocks? And can we move? We can move. Can we jump? We can jump. And we got big, but I don't know what's happening. So it has not created a functioning game because we cannot see what's happening on screen. But that would hopefully be a simple prompt for us to fix, but obviously a downside. Now, when we looked at the game earlier, in the middle of the process, it was using these very cool sprites to show us what was happening. But here, it has not given us any. Oh, there's the flagpole. That was very short Mario level, so it's obviously not created the actual level. The font is nowhere near as cool, and it does have a time running down, so that is a definite benefit. But again, we have no bad guys coming to kill me. I cannot see the graphics, and this looks pretty poor considering what it was generating for the other graphical elements. And I'm not sure what's happened here, considering it did have some pretty cool looking sprites. I wonder if I prompt it again to see what would happen and maybe give it an extra bonus just so I can see if it did use those actual sprites. So I'll be back in a second. If it does do that, that will be a definite win for us here. If it doesn't, then it will probably lose this challenge. But before we do that, let's actually have a look at all the sprites it created. So if we go into all of the files, look at our sprites or Mario sprites, it is done a little animation. So there's a bonus there. It's got probably a jump and maybe that's the jump and that's a running one. It's obviously looking straight to the camera, and here's big Mario. So here's your running and here's your jumping. So that's a definite sprite animation. So I'm gonna have to give it a prop 1 bonus point for that, or just a point, Let's have a look at the other sprites. So here we have really good looking. Look at that mushroom. Look at these coins. Look at that star. Look at that other mushroom. So they are real correct sprites. The coin would go around and around if we got to see it in an actual game. Have a look at the Goombas and the Koopa Troopers, and we've got even it as a shell being squished. So again, it's created some cool sprites there. And then if we have a look at the scenery, so it has a background. It didn't use that background for some reason. It's got some bushes, it's got a flag, it didn't use that flag, it's got a castle. Obviously the wrong castle, but it still has a castle. It hasn't used any of that we can see in the actual game. So that even though it's created all these things, and here's all these cool blocks and elements, so like, why hasn't it used these in the game that we can see? So I'll prompt it again, see if we can get it to work using these graphical elements, and if that would definitely be a win for Kimi AI. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I've given it this prompt here, but unfortunately it has exceeded my quota. My 3 agent tasks have been used, and I don't think I want to pay for Kimi AI just to use it for this, which is unfortunate because it won't even let me change to a different model if it opens it in a new chat if I do that. And that is not what I want. So I'm going to have to actually give the win here to Gemini. Even though the agent version of Kimi was creating some really cool looking sprites, it has not rendered it correctly in one prompt, giving us the winner being this here from Gemini. So Gemini is the winner, but it is still not great because these are not actual sprites, and you would need to do significant more work on it to actually create a game. So still the massive limitations with creating games in this space